What's up, YouTube? Welcome back to Common Sense, Logic, and Reason. And as always, thank y'all for joining me today. As I've always said that about liberal leftists, is that they can't come at you with a straight argument. They can't come at you with facts and data, statistical evidence. They always have to come at you with a sleight of hand, because if they don't, they would lose. They have to come at you with viewpoint angles, tactics that they have to come up with. Well, one of these tactics that I've seen of late that I haven't seen applied used before is whataboutism. Now, whataboutism, my best definition is basically criticizing the present while ignoring past similarities. In other words, if somebody's doing something today, they criticize it. Meanwhile, they want, or if they did the exact same thing yesterday, they will say, well, that was yesterday, we're talking about now. That's whataboutism. We're not talking about what we did yesterday, we're talking about now. So that's pretty much whataboutism. So basically, it's pretty much liberal leftists, their tactic to excuse away their hypocrisy. And one of the most central planks is hypocrisy and being a bunch of hypocrites. Now, a perfect example of this would be Trump. And the left is always coming out against Trump for everything under the sun. It doesn't matter. They just make up stuff to come after Trump to criticize him about, and they criticize him about this whole campaign violation thing. He supposedly violated campaign laws by paying off Stormy Daniels a silencer with a non-disclosure agreement prior to the election. Now they're saying, well, that's the violation of campaign contribution because they quote unquote, it influenced the election, though. Which they're trying to say it's illegal, but he spent his own money. So him spending his own money is not a violation of campaign contribution laws. Well, they want to throw the book at him. They want to put him under the jail. And people saying, well, we got him now on this and that, even though they have him on absolutely nothing because he did nothing wrong. Meanwhile, when Barack Obama was convicted of violating campaign laws, which he actually did, and he didn't disclose over $1 million worth of contribution, which you're supposed to, he got a slap on the wrist. So when people say, well, wait a minute, if you gave Obama a slap on the wrist for doing the exact same thing, then why do you want to impeach Trump and throw him under the jail? They'll say, well, we're talking about Trump now. That's whataboutism. Again, it's just a means of legitimizing their hypocrisy, because that's completely hypocritical. Anybody who goes after Donald Trump but had no problem with Obama getting that slap on the wrist for something that he actually did, they're being hypocrites, and they're going to use whataboutism to explain it away. Now, people will try to accuse conservatives of this, but conservatives tend to be more upfront and more forthright in their arguments and their truth. They'll basically admit when they're wrong in something, when liberals try to deflect and, again, come up with tactics to excuse away to not have to say they're wrong. And for me personally, I would have to say basically the second Gulf War in 2012. Not 2012. That would be 2003 when we went into Iraq, which first was supposed to be because of terrorists. The 911, the whole 911 thing. But then they were saying, well, it was weapons of mass destruction. And we're going in there for weapons of mass destruction. And I bought into it. And I was like, well, hey, if Iraq was really truly a threat to us, even though the hijackers were from Saudi Arabia, but if Iraq was really truly a threat for us and they had the weapons of mass destruction, then hey, let's go in and let's deal with the problem. I bought into it, and I can tell you one thing: I won't fall for the banana and tailpipe again. So I'm very hesitant when we talk about sending troops into other countries, because I'm staunchly for bringing all our troops home and let's deal with our problems here. Let's guard our own borders. And people say, well, if we were to take, like right now, talks of bringing our soldiers, or Trump saying we're going to bring our soldiers out of Syria, and all the neocons are saying, well, that's going to create problems, right? Well, it wouldn't be problems if we weren't there to stabilize all these nations to begin with. But I'm staunchly for bringing our troops home now, and you have to give me a compelling argument for me to believe that we need to be in these other nations and interfere in these other nations, because I was burnt on the weapons of mass destruction nonsense. But I can admit that. I will say, you know what, I supported it. I supported the war, the second Gulf War, under the guise of weapons of mass destruction, the whole yellow cake uranium story. But then again, that was back in 2003. I'm a lot wiser person now. But I will admit, hey, I was for it. But just like I'm opposed to all that, I was opposed to going into Libya, because, again, Libya posed no threat to us. And people said if we go into Libya and take Gaddafi out, well, ISIS is going to run amongst them, because Gaddafi was keeping them in check, and we did that. We took Libya out, we took Gaddafi out, and exactly what people feared happened. So I'm just so opposed to going into these other countries. We need to bring our soldiers home. But I'm not, like I say, I admit that I'm wrong. I'm not going to say, well, that's whataboutism. Sure, I was opposed to going into Libya when Barack Obama was in office, but I was for it for the first Gulf War. If you criticize me on that, well, that's whataboutism. No, I was wrong. And that's how conservatives tend to be. We are, like I said, more forward and upfront. But anyway, just yet another liberal tactic, and the only time I've ever seen it employed is by liberals. So just something to be aware of, because it's good to know. And because knowing, as I've said, knowing is half the battle. But in a way, that's whataboutism, another liberal tactic to look out for. And as always, y'all, until next time.